Fox News has learned of a disturbing development involving the type of explosive used in the attempted attack and just how dangerous it is.
This is a bit of a game changer. First of all, let me start by saying New York City got extremely lucky yesterday. TATP is enormously volatile. It is not very stable. It's extremely powerful. And it is the footprint, and if you go by past events, of serious bombing attacks. The London 7/7 attacks, Richard Reed's attempt on a plane. Many of us remember the Ariana Grande attacks outside the Manchester Arena. These are situations where you're well into double figures of people killed, never mind injured. So this was a very, very serious attempt, much more serious, I would argue, than it likely seemed to many right initially. And as to why they didn't detonate, in light of the fact that they were charged the way they were, is going to be something I'm sure that the federal authorities are going to be looking at very closely as they investigate these two perps.
All right, Pastor Mark, it has been a wild week. So we bombed Iran, and we just keep hitting them hard.
Yes.
And then we are seeing this uprising in Islamic extremism here in the States. Let me just quickly read you a list of what's happened in the last week from Muslims. Muslims shoot up a bar in Austin, Texas, 2 dead, 14 shot. Muslim lights Molotov cocktail and throws it at Christians in New York. Muslims throw a nail bomb, shrapnel, IED at Christians in New York. Muslims try to bomb Southwest flight to Nashville, or from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale. Muslims throw an IED shouting Allah Akbar at anti-Islam protests near the mansion. Muslim makes bomb threat on plane, forces emergency landing in Atlanta. Muslim background guy drops bomb threat at Kansas City airport. Explosions hit near U.S. Embassy in Oslo while tensions skyrocket. And the Muslims are like, why did the people in America not like us? And it's like, yes. Well, you seem to be not a religion of peace, but maybe a religion of war. And we're seeing more and more of this, and just a lot of extremism.
Yeah, and so you go over to Iran, you're trying to chop the head off the snake of global terror. And so just to hit Iran, Iran has been funding their proxies, Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, of course, invaded Israel on October 7th. And so literally the number one state sponsor of terror is Iran. And so, if you want to choke out the supply line of terror, you got to go get Iran. So we're bombing Iran, and then you're going to see an escalation nationally, domestically, as people who are sympathetic towards Iran and toward Islam. And then you've got to ask yourself, why is it that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are against Israel? They're not against Islam. Why is it that we are being told that Christian nationalism is a great danger, but Islamic nationalism is not? It is wild that we are currently bombing political leaders that are Islamic in one country and voting for them in our own. It's wild. Like, we were just driving through Dearborn, Michigan a couple days ago, and it is mosques and
it's a different country. Call
to prayer and Arabic and Farsi and Ramadan. And if you would have blindfolded me and then dropped me off, I would have said, oh, heck, I just landed in Mogadishu. I mean, it's wild. And so and what is really interesting with this one as well, you've got Mamdani, who immediately turns the narrative to, this is, he used the language, I think, of bigotry and racism. So immediately it is white nationalists who are violent, extremists, and dangerous, and he is a victim.
Yeah, I think we have that clip, so let's play that just so the audience can hear him say that for himself, because it's pretty wild.
And it's a lie. It's not true.
It's an absolute lie. He's protecting his people.
Of us were home at the time. This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City. I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home. While I found this protest appalling, I will not waver in my belief that it should be allowed to happen. Ours is a free society where the right to peaceful protest is sacred. It does not belong only to those we agree with. It belongs to everyone.
So bigotry and racism. So what happens is you've got Jake Lang. He's a far-right agitator, activist. He holds a protest. Hey, we don't need Islam in New York,
Yep.
which I totally agree with. So not saying I would have been at that particular event, but I agree with the sentiment. So then somebody shows up with a bomb. Immediately, Mamdani says, see, the white nationalists showed up here and they were going to bomb my house. Come to find, tell me if these sound like two white nationalists, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kouami.
Definitely not white.
Yeah, it's not like, my name is Joe and this is my buddy Ted. It wasn't those guys. These are not the guys drinking, Bud Light and thinking that wrestling is real.
Yeah.
That's not the crowd here. And they were angered by the anti-Islam protest. They are being investigated for domestic terrorism, and they were inspired by ICE. So they showed up with an IED to blow up anti-Islamists. So what this was, again, this was Islam being a religion of violence, showing up to murder people at a peaceful protest. Now, in America, you have right to freedom of speech and assembly and protest. So what is happening is legal. The Muslim guys show up to do terrorism, and the mayor lies, and he doesn't come out afterward and say, actually, I decry violence by Muslim terrorists inspired by ISIS, and next time there is a protest and you don't agree with it, please don't shout Allah Akbar and blow people up. He doesn't say that.
Yep. I mean, it would be very counter his narrative, especially since he's a Muslim. He's a very confused Muslim.
He's a Muslim like I'm a pregnant Asian chick.
I know.
Yeah.
I think he's very deceptive. He's trying to turn the narrative. He's trying to show a different version. And our good friends, the Cedra, say that's how it always comes in. And then it
Yes.
turns violent.
Yes.
And we're seeing that because, we're cutting the head off the snake. And we're just seeing these domestic terrorism events. We saw this weekend a Southwest flight 2094 from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale. A passenger was shouting, death to America, death to Trump, while on a pilot or while on a plane full of Americans.
And after 9/11, that's some scary stuff.
It's very scary. I mean, if you were on that flight, you'd be terrified. I mean,
I would be beating a guy.
yes, you would. Yes.
You have to.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's not a religion of peace. Christians don't do this when we're pissed off. They get on X and say gross things. But very rarely does a Christian go and attack people and use a bomb.
How many terrorist activities, how many presidential assassination attempts, the murder of Charlie Kirk, shootings at Christian schools, takeover like happened in Minneapolis of services? Like, how often is this happening from the right? Like, we're not taking over the mosque. We're not shooting up the Islamic schools. We're not shooting the Democratic candidates. I mean, this is political violence from the left to the right almost exclusively. And then the narrative is that the right is violent and dangerous. And it doesn't fit reality. And this is what...
Nobody would even shoot Biden. I mean, you'd feel bad.
You could take him down with a Nerf gun.
Yeah, for sure.
A Nerf gun would do it. But part of this as well is some people will wonder, like, should we be going after terrorists in other countries if it potentially inflames terrorism in our own country? And the truth is, when you're dealing with terrorists, you're not dealing with reasonable people. You're dealing with religious ideology that is extremist and demonic. And this is why, for example, like in the days of Joshua, God says, hey, when you go to take the promised land, kill them all.
Yeah. Because
their kids are infected with the same demon. And so you can get rid of one, but then the next generation is just going to pick up where that one left off. And we're seeing that. Like, we're now, I think, 3 tiers deep into killing political and military leaders, which are also religious leaders in Iran. And the issue is, with certain people, if you allow them to live, all they're going to do is evil. And furthermore, their kids, they've got the same demon and they have the same agenda.
Well, for any of the people that are like, doing this in Iran is causing all this violence in America. It's like, well, doing this in Iran, we found out somebody's hiding in your closet at your house and is going to attack your family. I'm glad. I'm not glad this stuff's happening, but I'm glad it's coming to the surface because it'll breed and it will fill America. And I would rather know there's a terrorist in this nation sooner than later. And they seem to be failing at every turn. They're not very well organized terrorists. But one of them might be. And we might see a plane blow up. We might see,
there is a threat of terror on the homeland and sleeper cells. I mean, since we had an open border, it's like, we don't know who's here and we don't know what they're working on.
What should the average husband, father do? Because there seems like there's just going to be a heightened risk for a little while.
I think, just as a husband and a father, the Bible talks early on that God gives a man dominion, and your home, that's your dominion. So you've got to secure it. You've got to ask yourself, like, do I have good security cameras? Do I have a word that when I say that to my wife and kids, we run the drill? Do I have firearms? Do I have a plan? Am I thinking through how to secure my property? I mean, you may not be able to keep the border of America, but you need to do your best to safeguard the border of your residence for your family. And each man is responsible for his sphere of dominion. And this is so that, your family can be safe. But it also means, what we're seeing as well is Christians may not understand this, but the core tenets of Islam are ones that encourage this behavior. So anybody who's not a believer, see, in Christianity, if you're not a believer, we say you're lost and Jesus wants you found. They call you an infidel. That's different. Yep. An infidel is literally an enemy.
Yep.
We don't see lost people as enemy. We see lost people as taken captive by the enemy, and we want to set captives free. So they're not our enemy. They're our mission field.
Yep.
In addition, the only way you're guaranteed to go to heaven, their version of heaven in Islam, is that you die as a martyr. If you just die, Allah gets to flip the coin and decide. But if you die a martyr, especially as a male, you go directly into paradise and you get 72 virgins. This is not in the Quran, it's in other literature. And those gals are around the age of 33. It says that they're so beautiful that these are women that can't be unveiled on the earth in this lifetime because they're too beautiful.
Yep.
That they literally sing your praises.
Yeah.
For all of eternity, and they're all virgins, and when you sleep with them, they immediately then return to virgin status.
Yeah.
And so their view of eternity is like, if you're a terrorist, you're like, well, if I go do jihad, holy war,
Yep.
I get to live in a brothel with eternal virgins who never age and are around 33 and, beautiful, and they return to virginity every night, and I get to live in a brothel forever and ever and ever. Yep. When you sell that to a guy, you're going to get some really evil, self-destructive behavior.
Yeah, and on earth, it's a very lust-driven religion. I mean, we were on with the Cedros a few weeks ago, and they were explaining that basically, I don't know how there is any Muslim women. It feels like an oxymoron.
Well, it's an oppression.
It's an oppression, and they just keep hiding the women more and more. It's first the veil, then the covering the eyes, and then the women aren't even allowed to speak because it's causing guys to stumble. So it's just guys that can be as lustful as they want. It'll just cover up all the women, and we won't have to look at them or stumble. They're just allowing the guys to become
animals.
It really is an animalistic culture. And then, they're going to rape white women because the women aren't covering up like the Muslim women. But I just don't understand why any Muslim women are staying Muslim women.
In an oppressive environment. So let's say you grew up in a strictly religious home and you're married off. Let's say you have a domineering, overbearing father, and then you're married off at a very young age, and an Islamic man can take up to 4 wives. Well, now
unless you're the founder, and then you can rewrite the rules.
Yeah, then you could have upwards of 11. So then you don't have the same legal rights. Maybe you don't have a driver's license. You don't have voting rights. You don't have access to the family checking account. You literally have no way to leave. And
I think it's capital punishment if you convert out.
Well, yeah, and if you just leave your husband, like, where do you go? Your family isn't going to take you back because now you've shamed the family. And, in Islamic teaching, the first time your wife disagrees with you, you can yell at her. The second time,
you can beat her.
She sleeps on the couch. Third time, you can beat her.
It's wild.
And if you know that's coming as a woman and you've got a domineering, overbearing husband and maybe he's got 2 or 3 other wives and there's nowhere for you to go and you don't have any legal rights or money, you know what you're going to do? It's like being a prisoner of war. It's being in a hostage situation and your abuser that torments you is your husband. And that's not marriage. that's abuse, you know. And so guys like Mamdani who will come on and say, you know, we're a religion of peace and we're about diversity and, you know, we love everybody. It's like, that's not what Islam teaches. And furthermore, his wife got in trouble this week because she's liking posts regarding Hamas's invasion of Israel on October 7th, where women are getting raped, and she's liking those posts. It's like, what this is just absolute deception. And some people are gullible enough to look at the words and not look at the deeds. And it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Yep. Yeah, and any of the feminists for it is one of the most oppressive religion. I mean, think about that. Like, you can have 4 wives and you can beat them, and the husband's dream is one day I'm going to die and go to heaven and have 72 virgins. So, like, my hope is to be married in heaven. And I think you and I agree on that.
Yeah.
Our wives both don't agree with us that we'll be married in heaven. They're just theologically wrong. But
yeah,
I'm not hoping I end up with 72 other women. If my wife knew that, oh my gosh, I just hope that I die and meet 72 beautiful women. What a perv.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, I don't know. Feminist for Muslims is like, you said, like,
vegans for, you know,
carnivores for
ribeyes.
PETA.
Yeah. But in this too, it's like every time he gets on, he's only been in the job a short while. He's already got an economic crisis. They've taken away in New York schools for the gifted, the students, because he says it is against equity. It's like, okay, so we don't want more smart people. I mean, but what we're seeing here is just the logical outcome of Islam married to progressivism, and it is anti-American. Sharia laws, it's anti-constitutionalism. And then certain people show up with bombs and they're going to just kill people.
Yep.
But if you say that, you're a bigot.
Yep.
If you don't say that, you're overtaken and your nation is stolen, just like happened in North Africa, just happened in Turkey, just like happened in Egypt. Islam eventually comes in and it conquers and conquests, and there's nobody and nothing left, and Christianity is gone, and so is liberty. So what you're seeing in Iran right now, you're seeing people rising up. They wish they had the Second Amendment. This thing would be over. But they want regime change. They're tired of living under this. You're seeing mosques close across Iran, and a very young, vibrant Christian church, and they see Christianity as liberation from oppression, and it's being led by women who are like, thanks for watching this video. It's a great honor to help you learn the Bible. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I promise you there'll be more to come.